When there's something strange in your neighborhood, like an evil mutant, who are you gonna call? The X-Men. Hey there, welcome to Movie Reedviews, where I'm going to review the new X-Men movie, X-Men Apocalypse. And it's directed by Bryan Singer, who's directed some of the other X-Men movies, starring the first-class cast, kind of like the younger cast. And it's basically about like the first mutant, nicknamed Apocalypse, who is kind of worshipped as a god, and he's been around for millennia. He's able to take on the form and like the body of other mutants, and in turn he takes their powers. And so he's able to live for like generations and generations as he like takes on these mutants' powers and just kind of goes from body to body. And the movie starts out in Egypt, where you get to see a little bit about that and like his origins, and it's kind of different for an X-Men movie, but I liked it. But the majority of the movie will then go and take place in the 80s, where you get to, like I mentioned, you get to see the first class cast again with James McAvoy as Professor Xavier, and Magneto is played by Michael Fassbender. So you do get to see a little bit of a Professor Xavier being like the professor and kind of running the school, and you know, seeing a lot of the mutants as like the school starting to go up and running. But then Apocalypse comes in, you know, to this day and time, or I guess the 80s. But then, you know, he needs to find 4 strong mutants, and I'll talk about this later, 4 strong mutants to go and be like his horsemen to help him and assist him and protect him. Actually, let's just get into the strong part. To be honest, 3 of them here, you have Angel, Psylocke, and Storm. They basically don't contribute much, and you don't get to learn much about their characters. They're just kind of like the side horsemen, I felt like, in my opinion. But Magneto, they do a fantastic job with him and his character. I think they really do his character justice. Michael Fassbender does an amazing job in that role, and yeah, he has some amazing and some heart-wrenching scenes. James McAvoy gives another great performance for Professor X, and actually I think it's his best performance so far, as far as I remember, from like X-Men First Class and Days of Future Past. I think this is his best performance. He's really getting into the role and like the personality of Xavier. And then you have like some newcomers, the younger versions of Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Nightcrawler shown here. And yeah, I really like them, especially they do the character of Cyclops justice, because in some of the older movies he's kind of like meh, he doesn't really contribute much, but here he's like a main character. Jean Grey they're really starting to dive into, and then Nightcrawler's always good. They do a great job with him, just like they did in X2, which was like a decade ago. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of them. Someone I'm not that excited to see anymore is Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique. Jennifer Lawrence seems like she's kind of bored with this role, and it's too much like Katniss, in my opinion. She's just being like this leader, and like, you are X-Men, you need to fight. And it's just like, why are you the leader? You're kind of more like an anti-hero, kind of more on the side. You're not really supposed to be like this leader. This is supposed to be Xavier maybe gathering the mutants and teaching them about powers and stuff like that. So, less of her, please. Maybe even like none of her. Lastly, Quicksilver has another hilarious scene. It might even top the last one from Days of Future Past. It was just really great, and he brings a lot of energy to the movie as well, so I really like his character. And then also, there's another great scene with another character, but no spoilers here. Now for the villain, Apocalypse, I mean, he was menacing in the movie, but I kind of wanted more of him. There were times where it was just like a long stretch without him, or he would just kind of like, I don't know, just kind of stand there and talk. I wanted to see like more of him be menacing. There were parts of that, especially near the end, when everything's starting to come together. But it was just like, and I never really got used to his look. I know some people said like, oh, okay, yeah, it kind of looks cool, but to me, I mean, it just seemed like a little too blue. And side note, there's a lot of blue characters in this movie. That's something I just noticed. Beast, Mystique, Nightcrawler, Apocalypse, everyone's blue. What's with that? You know, and as for the length and the effects, it really opened strong, and I was really into like the last 30 minutes when everything was coming together, but there were some parts in the middle where it did drag, and they just had like so many characters that I think they were spreading themselves thin, because they had to go to like so many new characters and introduce these people, and even the effects, the action was pretty cool, but the effects were kind of like so-so. It was a lot of CGI, and it was kind of noticeable, at least to me in parts, so I don't know if they had like less of a budget this time or what, but some parts were good, some parts weren't. If you're still deciding to see it, if you really like this first-class cast, like the younger cast, I think you'll like this one. It continues like some of those storylines, and it kind of completes this trilogy. But yeah, if you like this cast, I don't think this movie's really going to win over the new fans, but if you're a big comic book fan of X-Men, I think you'll really like this, because there's some this fan service to some of these characters. Let's summarize. 3.5 out of 5 stars for me. When I think good, great, or amazing, kind of getting up in that range, it was more like good for me. It didn't amaze me. It kind of met my expectations. It was entertaining for the most part, but I think they had a lot of different characters that they were trying to introduce, and they just, like I mentioned, they spread themselves thin. The Horsemen were kind of like meh, but James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender just kill it again in their main roles. So that's it for this review. Instead of telling me, what movie you liked for X-Men, tell me what's your favorite X-Men character in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can get updates on my other reviews and other things that go on here at this channel, so make sure to subscribe. And in a couple of weeks, maybe I'll see TMNT or Now You See Me Too. I guess we'll see. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.